Hello there, good morning year 8, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today's topic is going to be blood. If you look at this special animation, you can see the different parts of blood. The base liquid, which is a kind of see-through or yellowish liquid in color, can actually be seen here. That's called plasma. In this plasma, you can see traveling all the little red blood cells. They are like tiny discs. And look at that big one. That's a white blood cell. There's one more coming again. And if you are analyzing this image really carefully, you can see the tiny little pieces flying there. These are the platelets. We are going to speak about the different functions of these. So if you have a look at this picture, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets are here, but let's start with plasma. Plasma is the liquid part of our blood, and as I told you, yellowish in color. It contains water, some inorganic things and proteins as well. We are going to check how much plasma we have in our blood a bit later. Red blood cells, they have this saucer shape and they are produced in the bone marrow. The problem with these cells is that they don't have a nucleus. Without a nucleus, they can't reproduce. So once they are produced in the bone marrow, they just travel through veins and arteries and then they basically die. So we always need to produce new red blood cells. White blood cells are round, as you can see, colorless, and they have a really important function. They fight off infections. Platelets, the tiny pieces here, well, I can show you a bigger image. So these are the platelets here. Their function is basically very simple. They stop bleeding in our bodies. What about the main functions of blood? And to speak about this, let's see the red blood cells. Really simple function. They transport gases, namely oxygen and carbon dioxide. There's a really important thing in them. We call that hemoglobin. And hemoglobin, there's an iron in them. Iron is a reference to that special tiny thing which we call wash. And iron means that it's charged. It is charged. It's a positive ion. So that's the structure of our red blood cells. What is the other function of blood? Actually, really simple. It can just respond to injury and infection by using white blood cells. And of course, your blood also transports digested food, waste materials by the plasma. Okay, so this is all about the structure of our blood, the different parts of it. Now let's see some more details. I'm going to use my presentation. Just a second. Here it is. Hopefully you can see it in a second. Yes, okay, it's right there. So, what makes up our blood? Please open your exercise books now, write the date, yeah, which can be the date of that Monday when you start all this. So, the title is blood. What makes up our blood? Red blood cells, erythrocytes, that's the scientific name. Yeah, and we mentioned that they are produced in the bone marrow and they contain a protein called hemoglobin. White blood cells is the next one, leukocytes, that's the scientific name, and they can destroy infectious agents. Of course, you can always stop the video and you can write down the core information. Plasma. This is the yellowish liquid portion of blood that contains electrolytes, nutrients and vitamins, hormones, clotting factors and proteins such as antibodies to fight infection. And platelets or thrombocytes, the clotting factors that are carried in the plasma. They clot together in a process called coagulation to seal a wound and prevent a loss of blood. So, if you finished writing these, we can draw something special. Look at this test tube. We have some blood in this. It's a blood sample. And as we mentioned, most of our blood is plasma. You can see the yellowish color. White blood cells and platelets, they just contain, the blood samples contain a tiny bit of those. So the amount of these is much less. And red blood cells is around 40% of our blood. Please draw this test tube now in your exercise book and write the parts around it. So I need the diagram of this test tube and the parts labeled. If you finished, we can move on. Some important facts about our blood. How much blood do we have in our body? You can always read the important facts here behind me and then answer the questions quickly. Yes, an average adult person has about 5 liters of blood. So it's like less than 10% of your body weight. What is blood exactly? Can we call them just cells or it's an organ? Look, blood is a living tissue and we mentioned that it has important functions concerning transportation of things. How many red blood cells do we have in our body? Please look for this in the text. Yes, we have around 1 billion, so 1,000 million red blood cells just in 2 to 3 drops of blood. So it's a huge amount of red blood cells. For every 600 red blood cells, there are about 40 platelets and 1 white cell. So their number is much more little. Okay, then when we move on, we can just analyze the genetics of different blood types. Everyone heard about these. Everybody knows, I think, that people sometimes speak about their blood types. Blood type A, blood type B, blood type AB, and blood type O. So these are the 4 basic ones. But you will see that there can be some more extras about these. So your blood type is established before you are born by specific genes inherited from your parents. You inherit 1 gene from your mother. Gene is gen in Hungarian. And 1 from your father. These genes determine your blood type by causing proteins called agglutinogens to exist on the surface of all of your red blood cells. So, in your book, these agglutinogens are called antigens, simply. Actually, it's a really simple system. Blood type A, they just chose this letter, I think, because they wanted to simplify this whole system, really. So, blood type A has a protein on its surface, which is also A. Really simple to remember, is that right? So, blood type A, agglutinogen or antigen on the surface of it is also A. But there's a problem that they have antibodies as well. For example, if you have the antigen A on the red blood cells, then you have got type A blood, but blood type A has the B antibody as well. What does antibody mean? It means something not too good. If you give blood type B to a blood type A person, because blood type B persons have antibodies A, actually they start, the two blood types start being mixed, and then there's a very strange thing happens. Actually, there are tiny pieces of lumps of blood being formed. In your book, they write that the different blood types clump together, and we call this agglutination. If agglutination occurs, unfortunately, a person dies, because blood clumped together means that the blood cannot flow in the body anymore. So, let's see the details of this. We can have a look at a chart. There are 3 genes for blood types, A, B, and O, and by using these we can have the different types. Type A blood has certain red blood cell surface proteins, A, but the antibodies are B antibodies in it. Type B has B surface proteins, but the antibody or agglutinin is only A. Type AB has A and B agglutinogens or antigens on the surface, but it has no agglutinin or it has no antigen. So look at the last one. Type O, this kind of blood type has no surface proteins, but if you look at the antibodies, they have antibodies A and B. So what does that mean? That means that type O blood has no antigens. It will not react with any antibodies. So a person with O type blood can give blood to anyone. Type A blood has no antibodies. Then people with AB type of blood can receive blood from anyone. So blood type O persons are general givers, and blood type AB people can get blood from anyone. So that's important to know. I hope you had some blood tests previously in your lives and you know what kind of blood type you have. You can see information on blood types here in the book. There's a really useful chart. I would like you to use this chart in your exercise book. So open your class book, textbook at page 33 and draw this chart and write the information in it. Okay. If you finished all this, please have a look at your workbook. There's a chart there as well, and you need to fill the chart. This was done by a previous student of mine. Please make sure that the answers are good or not good. So please check this student's work. If you stop the video, you can have a look at it, you can analyze these facts, and you can think. When you finish this, then please complete all the tasks on page 31 in your workbook. And now, because there are some harder words in this chapter, I would like you to repeat the following. From the end of the chapter, page 33, vocabulary list. Can you see the vocabulary list? Yeah. So, adenoid mirigy. Agglutination, kicsapódás. Antibody, antitest. Clumping, kicsapódás. Fight off, leküzd. Pathogen, kórokozó. Platelet, vérlemezke. Pulse rate, pulzusszám. Thymus, csecsemőmirigy. And tonsil mandula. Some of the words will be used later in our studies. So, we are not going to go into details about this, but you can see the ratio of different blood types for humans. And the core information which we spoke about is also here. This is a useful drawing about a universal donor. A universal donor is a person who can give blood to any blood type. And the other information is also here. People with type AB blood are called universal recipients because they can receive any blood type. So please repeat these two key terms: universal donor and universal recipient. There's one more exciting thing down here at the bottom: RH positive and RH negative. What does that mean? Let's read this quickly and you will get information about that. Scientists sometimes study rhesus monkeys to learn more about the human anatomy because there are certain similarities between the two species. While studying rhesus monkeys, which you can see in the picture, a certain blood protein was discovered. This protein is also present in the blood of some people. Other people, however, do not have the protein. The presence of the protein or lack of it is referred to as the RH, for rhesus, factor. So RH comes from the Latin name of this monkey, the first two letters. If your blood does contain the protein, your blood is said to be RH positive. If your blood does not contain the protein, then your blood is said to be RH negative. So this is how we can finally say that there are 8 basic blood types, because RH positivity and negativity these are also part of the business. We mentioned blood samples as well earlier, because these are things we can analyze, but they also use blood droplets and spatter in laboratories. Now, just because I think it's exciting to check this, you can see here the microscopic image of different creatures. There are even snakes here analyzed, frog, fish, horse, cat, bird, dog, and the human blood, so you can see the differences and similarities. I would like you to stop this video now and check the videos which I actually copied here. I'm not sure that I can start it like this. Maybe I can. I'm not sure. Yes. And you can have a look at the videos at home. Just a second, and I'm going to do something about this. Yes.
In a lot of important ways, human beings are pretty similar to one another. But when it comes
so this is one of the videos. Please watch this at home. This is about blood types. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to show you the other video. And hopefully I can start it as well. Yes.
Hello friends. Today
It's about human blood, some general facts. So please find this one as well. I'm not going to play them now because these could be too long for my video. So please read the text in the textbook, check the workbook tasks, analyze the information, and we will continue next time. Until then, bye-bye.